Nestled in the heart of historic downtown Wilkesboro, the 1915 offers a wedding experience like no other. Once a federal courthouse and post office, the 1915 combines rich history with timeless charm. From intimate gatherings to full-day rentals, we provide the perfect backdrop for your most cherished moments. With indoor and outdoor options, bridal and groom suites, every detail is crafted just for you. Make your wedding unforgettable at the 1915, Wilkesboro's historic wedding venue, where your story begins.
Closed captions for this episode of Life in Wilkes is brought to you by Deal Insurance Agency in Wilkesboro, an award-winning, experienced, family-owned and operated agency with service and coverage that goes above and beyond expectations.
Join us on a captivating journey as we explore the charm, history, and vibrant culture of Wilkes County. Discover the hidden gems, inspiring stories, and remarkable people that make Wilkes a place worth knowing and celebrating. Join us now and experience the unique essence of life in Wilkes.
CJ, how you doing?
I'm doing terrific. How are you, Carl?
I'm doing well. Well, we know who each other are, but why don't you share with our audience? Many of them know you, but why don't you share with all those who don't who you are and who you brought with you?
Okay. Well, my name is CJ Ballard. I am a musician, father, husband, and part business operator with this lovely lady, Miss Amy, who is my wife of 27 years this year. 26
26
Getting
years.
ahead of myself, yeah. 26 years.
Does it bother you when he gets the numbers wrong?
No.
No.
No. It feels like a lot more some days.
Yeah.
But yeah, and so born and raised Wilkes County. Likewise, well, she was born here, and attended public school like most everyone else, and just kind of tried several paths of employment until decided that self-employment was probably the way to go for both of us. And then once we started down that path, it just was, seemed like the right path for us anyway.
Yeah. All right. Great. So that's who you are. You're musicians. You have a restaurant.
We do.
Up near the lake, or
It's called Almost on the Lake.
almost on the lake. Almost on the lake. I was telling someone a couple of weeks ago, they said, any place to eat up past Wilkesboro? I said, well, yeah, there is. CJ Ballard has a restaurant up there. And what is it? And then I said, Almost on the Lake. He said, no, not where. What's the name of it? And
We get that a lot.
Yes. That
You're
is the name
you're
of it.
almost playing who's on first at that point, aren't you?
That's right. So before we really get into the deeper thing, so where did that name come from?
Actually, my nickname is Almost. It was gave to me by a cousin a long time ago, and it just kind of stuck.
Almost?
Yes.
On the lake, so it's a play on
Almost
words.
On the lake.
So not
Okay.
only location, it is just a little play on words.
All right. Well, we're
So-
going to have to talk for a while to ease our way into how that happened. So, CJ, you and I met years ago.
Yep.
I don't know. It seems like we met at a coffee shop somewhere, wasn't it?
Was it Talia's, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
It absolutely was Italians. My gosh, that's what, I don't know, 10, 12 years ago?
At least 2015 or somewhere in there.
Yeah,
probably,
it was in the earlier days of when Jim and Kathy came to this region and started. I was visiting the area then, and that was my hangout.
Yeah.
It was great. It just.
And it still is. They're good people. We love Jim and Kathy. Yeah.
I think so too. So that's where we met. You were doing music then, but certainly it's evolved since then.
Oh,
right?
absolutely. Yeah.
Now, has music been a part of your life since you were a kid?
Absolutely. So all the folks in the house played, and it was kind of bluegrassy, more in those days. But I did start trying to play when I was young, but I didn't take it. I didn't do like Presley Barker or anything like that, who's amazing, by the way. But no, I just kind of dabbled a little, got entered in the Journal Patriot when I was in 4th grade for a song that my uncle and I had kind of written together called Cherry Pie.
Cherry Pie.
Yeah, and I think my mom still got the little article about it. It was kind of cute. But anyway, so I don't know. It stuck with me for a little bit, but then,
Now, was that cherry pie like a real pie or cherry pie moonshine?
Again, play on words. It was.
Okay.
I think we beat the band Warrant, in the 80s that came out with the rock song. I think we beat them to the punch on the little play on words with that. But ours was just kind of a little rhythm and bluesy sounding thing. And I was a kid and really didn't know the implications of it. But now as an adult, thinking about the lyrics, obviously he was playing around with the word play there. But
So it happens.
Yeah, but
it happens.
So I did not, and I do regret some of this, that I didn't really become a student of music, in my adolescence when your brain's developing, when your stuff's developing, I just kind of goofed around like kids do, I just wasted a lot of time just being a dumb kid. And so it wasn't until we got together, 20-somethings, that I started taking it, like I said, serious and as a craft, And
so were you part of that? Were you part of the driving force of saying, hey, look, if we're going to hang around, you got to get a little smarter?
Well, he used to always play at home and around the campfires with friends, and, so I encouraged him to pursue it further.
Mm-hmm. And through church, too. A big part of it was a praise team, of course, across our church. And that was really what started developing the ability and understanding of music, structurally and all that stuff.
So because you were with a group who said, you got to do this right.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. We're playing for the big guy here.
That's right. No lollygagging around.
That's right.
Let's get it right. That's good.
Mm-hmm.
That was good advice, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
When was it on this journey, CJ, that you wrote a song or you performed a song or something happened of where you said, I really feel like I want to do more of this?
It was probably in that time. There were some of the first, I guess, more serious type songs, not just comical or just goofing around type, but it would have been through that praise and worship phase in the early 2000s. I started writing some pretty meaningful type praise songs, There's one called Gently. That just it's a pretty tough story about a young lady who has, as it says in the song, played the church game, as a lot of people do. And it wasn't until that her son was killed, and this was the tragedy in the song, her son was killed, but he actually had made a reference to a stranger that they were seeing in traffic or whatever, standing on the road, that he recognized this person and he felt sorry for him. And the mom was like, no. But when the accident, the tragedy happened, the person that he saw was actually Jesus, and he came to the woman and he comforted her.
Wow.
And it was after that then she started having this understanding, and but it's a pretty powerful song. It's called Gently, and so it was from that though that I started saying, hey, I may have something here, or the Lord may be trying to use me in something.
So were you around that time period? I mean, as far as involved with the same, when he was playing, were you there? Were you?
Yeah, I was there.
Do you remember that song?
I do.
And what did you think about it?
I actually took it to a friend of ours to hear it, and it was probably one of my favorites.
Really?
Yeah, that one, and then one called This Day is a really good one.
And what was that about?
That one's testimonial type. Just so some of that having fun and being a crazy teenager landed me in trouble when I was, in my latter teens. And so I had some pretty serious charges hanging over my head, and a judge gave me a second chance, I guess, type program called Impact. And it was a military-based program. And so basically you go through 90 days, essentially a boot camp, where they shave your head, they dress you in fatigues, you're in a platoon, you're in a barracks. The only real difference is after you do your PT and stuff in the mornings, instead of being trained to be a soldier, we were trained to be citizens, so we went to work. And we went and worked doing land clearing by hand with hand tools.
Wow.
Yeah. And so, but in that program that I was in, I had an experience one morning in the sunrise, and that's where that song came out of. Anyway, This Day, it was just a snapshot moment in time that, you try to capture in words somehow, explain to somebody what you saw.
So during that tough moment, something happened that was pretty special to you.
Oh, wow. Changed my life.
Do you think everybody has those moments of where something happens, maybe not to that extreme or maybe to even more extreme, right?
Yeah.
Something happens that you sense a change, a shift.
Yeah, well, it's intention, I think, is what you change. I mean,
your reason.
Yeah, you either have intention to have positive outcome in life, or you have no intention in life and you just take whatever's dealt your way because, you're taking the path of least resistance.
Right. Kind of like that song, Que Sera, Sera.
Yeah.
But without the good rhythm.
And the danceability.
That's right.
Yeah.
Did you dance too? Were you dancing?
Oh, no dancing.
Country dancing. Well, Amos, what do you think about it? I mean, what he's saying now, I mean, you were there for this, right?
I was.
Yeah. So, I mean, does this resonate with you? Were you there when he was a bad boy?
I was. I actually met him. I was probably 13, 14. He was a friend of my brother's.
So he was older.
He was younger.
No,
Younger?
I'm 3 years younger than she is.
Oh.
He was younger.
Does that
just
make
kinda,
you a cougar?
I guess you could too.
I don't think that works when you're younger. Right? You got to be older than that.
No, we weren't actually, then.
You were just aware of each other's existence.
Yes.
Right.
He was just my younger brother's friend.
Of course, you were 13. Of course, of course. Okay.
But he never went away. He came around and he never went away.
Like the stray dog that you feed.
I think he liked my mom's cooking. I don't know.
Okay.
But,
all right. So over time.
Actually, I moved to Taylorsville for several years. Didn't see him for a long time. Came back home, and I don't know. It just happened from there.
So there's another expression. So what they say about separation makes the heart grow fond.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, and he went through the impact. I knew him during those impact years, but not like we seen each other all the time or anything.
Right.
But through a couple circumstances in my life, I ended up back home, and I don't know. We just kind of. My brother invited me over to a New Year's party, and from there it went.
That happened. New Year's.
Yeah.
Yes.
New Year's happened.
Right. New Year's. A new year, a new beginning.
That's right.
All
right.
And just from there. So, known him a long time, not in,
Kind of grew up together.
Yeah.
A bit of that.
I say it all the time that I feel like part of our success in our relationship is the fact that we were able to just cut up, laugh at each other, and have fun and be friends for so long. We were so comfortable around each other, if that makes sense. There was never really any of that awkwardness as far as, now, obviously when you start to elevate relationships, things is going to change. But as far as just being around each other,
right,
we were just like buddies. And so it was very easy on that part.
That's a nice way to have relationships, right?
Yeah.
For maybe that should be it in the dating process. You have to be buddies.
You have to know each other for like 10 years or so before you start dating.
Oh, there should absolutely be like a time period. You should have to date for a year.
Yeah.
You should have to.
Yeah.
Maybe even spend the night a couple of times. Even if you're not doing anything, just spend the night. That way you know their morning routine, whether they snore or not, these sorts of things.
Right. Did he snore loud?
He does.
Yeah, like a freight train.
Maybe he's got sleep apnea.
I just punch him.
Does he wake up? Or
Yeah, this is
He
the
just rolls
CPAP right
over,
here.
Wow. Yeah, I think these conversations, I know we're having fun, but I think they're worth having because so many relationships start and then a little bump in the road or a sneeze or something, and then it's like, oh, it's over. I don't understand that level of commitment. I don't even know if there is commitment. I
think these days it's such a disposable society that we're like, let's just throw this one away and get a new one. And people just don't work at it, and it is work.
Yes.
And compromise, and
I've never liked littering.
So it's so much easier just to toss it to the side and find something new as it is to fix what's broken. I think all relationships have broken pieces.
Right.
It's
So
just
did
depending.
you fix the broken CJ?
I'm still working on it. It's a daily process. I keep the super glue handy. You know?
Super glue, right? The industrial strength, right?
Yeah, it's like,
Wow.
didn't I just fix this yesterday? Why not? It broke again?
Back
Do y'all have cats or dogs?
Both.
Both.
Yeah.
Oh, how'd that happen? Who was a dog person?
I was a dog person, never
Okay.
was a cat person until we rescued a 4-week-old kitten from the road in front of Harold's one morning.
So listen to this story. I've got to tell this story. So we were driving down the road right there in front of Harold's, you know.
Right. Yep.
And just as I'm driving along, I just spotted it kind of out of my peripheral vision, but I could tell what it was, even though it was smaller than my phone.
Tiny.
It was a kitten laying dead on the yellow line.
Oh no.
And I just was like, that was a kitten.
Yeah.
And so I immediately turned around. Well, someone else had seen it apparently, because as soon as I just whipped off and jumped out of the car pretty quick, he had already stopped and gotten it out of the road.
Oh, okay.
And so he was walking back to his vehicle with it, and I thought, okay, he's got it. He's going to take it. Well, then I watched just a second, but he was going to sit it down.
Oh, he was just getting it out of the road.
Yeah.
Oh.
And so he just sat it down. I said, you going to leave it? And he's like, well, I don't see any other cats around. I'm not taking it, he says. I was like,
Right.
okay. So I stood there a second, too, and I looked around to see if I could see a mama cat or something around. Nothing to be seen. And, of course, I picked him up, and that was the mistake. And I picked him up.
It's like this big.
And I handed him to her, and she was like,
So I became a cat person.
Yeah. And his name is Easy, and he's
Easy?
one of the black and white or black and gray striped, the
Right.
tiger type looking
Sure,
cats. I don't know what you
sure.
call
And
those.
how long ago was this?
Oh, he's 2 now, isn't he?
No, he's 3 or 4.
Oh, he's not.
So just a few years
Yeah.
ago.
Just a
He's,
few
he's
years
full grown cat now. He's a
Right.
cool guy.
Right. So here you are. Things have happened in your life. You're going down the road. You spot a tiny cat. I mean, your vision's got to be good, right?
I had LASIK when I was 30.
Oh. I had that done last year, but I haven't completely settled yet. I don't know. I know I had cataracts, not the LASIK.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
So depends on how I look at you. If I can see you or not.
Oh, right.
I can see you're just not. There you are.
Oh, there it is. Yeah. Waiting for the focus to come in.
Well, they said I talked to the doctor, and he said, "Look, I caught him. I said, I can't see God with these things." He said, "In no place can you see God." I said, "Well, when I tip my head up, there's a little place that I got perfect vision. The rest of it's not." Well, how's your distant vision? Distant vision's perfect, but within 12 feet, it's not so hot. He said, well, come on in, we'll get you new glasses. Or you just wait 6 to 8 months, let it settle in, and then we'll get you some new ones.
Oh, yeah.
And I said, why do you do that? He said, well, it's just the process. You know?
Stuff grows, yeah. I mean,
That's
it
right.
grows. Yeah, my mom had it done, too. And she's still she's going to have her glasses changed or redone because hers are settling in.
Yeah. That's right. Well, there you go. The journey. So anyway, you didn't have that issue. You saw the little kitten, not a cat at that point, just kitten, baby,
Tiny.
baby.
Yeah.
So something in you. I know he shared it with you, right? But he did it. You didn't say, "Hey, there's a kitten," did you? So you didn't say that. He saw.
Yeah.
Over the years, has his heart gotten softer? I mean, does he like?
No, he's always been that way.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. I'm a softie.
He's
when
a
it
softie.
comes to animals and stuff
You know, we
like that.
can't
I'm a
fish
big
with
softie.
worms because he feels sorry for the worms, kind of. Yeah.
I mean, do you feel the pain? I mean, in your mind.
Well, I mean, he's squiggling all around. It's got to hurt.
Do you use corn?
I don't care if he just,
Yeah.
yes, absolutely.
And then he
Corn.
feels sorry for the fish. So
yeah,
we
and then
just
we
kinda,
catch one fish, and I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to do it anymore.
So you have tofu at the restaurant?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
He don't have any trouble eating it. He just don't want to catch it.
I'm a softie when it comes to seeing the stuff get hurt, anything like that. So.
I think that has a lot to do with being a good writer and a good musician, being able to feel, have that intuitive nature. I don't know how you feel about it, but I think that universally speaking, we're all connected in some way. I think life is all connected.
Sure, absolutely.
And the more, I don't want to say sensitive. I think it's not sensitive. I think you're just aware. So it's like you see the cat. Oh, I said the worm. Well, I was in Greenwood, South Carolina, working on the story, and I went to the genetics center, and I met this scientist who's known all over the world. We were walking around. He was talking about all the work that they were doing, and we come up on this big wall, and I says, "What's that?" He says, "That's the code, the genetic code." And he said, "This is humans. These are pony or whatever." And I said, "What's that on the top?" And he says, "What do you notice about the top?" I said, "It looks pretty much the same as the bottom." He's like, "Except for," and he pointed at this one little tiny place, that was a little bit different, in the lines. And I said, "So this is me and you." He said, "That's all humans are here." And that up there, which is only that tiny bit of difference, what's that? He says, "A banana." I said, "So wait a minute. We're pretty much identical to apes."
Yeah. We're just bananas.
And we're not that far from a banana. So
I definitely can identify.
I was like,
Yeah. Okay.
wow.
Yeah.
That's
It explains a lot in my life.
all of our lives. All of our lives. Science is amazing, And,
It is. It's
when
fun.
you take a minute, I would never have known that. I don't even know that I would have understood that concept had I not seen that.
Right.
I've been talking to a world authority, so you seem to know a few things. So, that little kitten got you, right?
Yeah, well, it just, and
Did
so...
you write a song about that?
Not yet, no. And it would appear that all of our pets actually are sort of sympathy pets, really. I won't say that we're like rescuers or adopters or anything of that nature, but we do have a German Shepherd mix that...
Showed up at the restaurant one day.
And she was...
Well, multiple days before we took it home.
Yeah, and she was trying to scavenge around the dumpster and stuff, and obviously she was really bad off, so...
And our daughter has a real bad habit of bringing...
Now, our daughter is the cat lady.
Strays home. She's just an animal person.
Because by the time we finish this segment about the pets, you're going to realize that she has abandoned 3 dogs on us. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah.
Keep on.
She was gifting you.
Yeah, absolutely.
She was gifting.
Yeah.
Well, she rescued the Shepherd mix. Then just a few weeks later, her and her fiance, for whatever reason, because the Shepherd mix didn't, and we live relatively close together.
Right.
We're within, 500 or 600 yards. Our houses
The compound.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's just family property.
Yeah.
We live on her family's
compound.
land. The compound. Yeah, right. But the Shepherd was wanting to stay at our house. Is where she was wanting to stay. So they ended up going to the shelter and adopting another dog, a little, I don't even know, what is Cowboy? A mutt?
He's stupid.
He's just a mutt with a blue eye.
Right.
He's a mutt with a blue eye, and they thought he was cute, and so she swooped him up.
Right.
And now we have Cowboy.
The blue-eyed mutt.
One blue eye. I told him, I said, you're only one blue eye away from being an absolute disgraceful dog. The Shepherd mix, we call her Honey or Honey Bear. And then the other dog that is there is, technically it's my son's dog, who also lives on the compound.
Right.
This way.
Right.
But he won't stay at his house either. They all stay at the house. And he's old blue tick and lab mix. And
lost a leg.
Yeah.
So he's 3-legged.
He's a 3-legged dog.
So we have 3 dogs and 2 cats.
Yeah.
3 dogs
and 2 cats.
2 cats. So wait a minute. 2
Then
cats.
my daughter has another cat that kind of is like a neighborhood cat.
Right.
Yeah.
Minus 1 leg.
Yeah.
For the dog.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So that certainly speaks to your view and love and compassion for the world.
Oh, sure.
And all of God's little creatures. Right?
Yeah. I'm a bona fide sap. There's no doubt about it. I cried at Stuart Little.
Yeah.
Oh, well, who wouldn't?
That does tell you anything.
Do you cringe when you look at the menu?
No, I don't. I'm not bothered by that. No,
Okay.
it's just it's life is poetry sometimes, and when things are you know, the cinemas, I like the movies. I like good movie making. I really do. And so the stuff that invokes the emotion in you and all that, it's important.
It's good stuff, right?
Yeah, there can be. Absolutely.
Right. Okay. So from this wonderful world of humanity and caring for all the creatures into the restaurant world, how did the restaurant come to be? We'll get back to your music.
Sure.
In a minute, but let's talk about the restaurant. How did that happen?
It was God.
Uh-huh.
I mean, he just opened the doors for it. I actually started working in a restaurant when I was 15
Okay.
for Janet and Giles Scott out of Taylorsville. A little place called the Coffee Shop. So I got my base there. Worked at several different restaurants through the years, waitressing and cooking and
Learning all the different parts.
just, you know.
Learning what she thought was all the different parts.
You always think you know until you do it. I worked out at Moravian Falls Grill for 15 years with Shelley Brock.
Is it still there?
It is.
Absolutely.
It is.
Okay. I
Yeah.
see their posts on social media,
Yeah.
and they post the morning breakfast. It's been 3 or 4 days. I'm like, I'm going there.
No,
good
it's
stuff.
good.
I mean,
it's good.
I look at that, and it was not on my diet program, and which is kind of watching
Gravy
my,
biscuits usually are.
watching my chart. No, but you know,
Yeah, but it is real good. You should go check them out. Yeah.
yeah.
But I don't know. We just started talking about it one day. I went and looked at a little place in Taylorsville first, and it just didn't feel right. And then Alan Scoggins came to Moravian Falls Grill one day, and he's like, "Why don't you just come out here and look at the building?" He had, he had the mason jar out there. Very successful with it, and the building had sat empty for a couple of years, and we went and walked through, and I was like, well, we don't have any money to do this.
We really didn't have any.
I mean, we were week to week, paycheck to paycheck, just like, most people are. So we just prayed about it, and I was like, Lord, if you want this to happen, then you'll open the doors. And we had a good friend that says, hey, I'll loan you this if you want to do this.
A good friend named Gary Foster.
Okay. All right.
And
We'll throw that out there for you.
so
the scratch and tip washer dryer. That's right.
we just kind of went with it. When we opened the doors in 2018, we had $12 in the bank, and so far we've been able to keep everybody paid and
Even
keep the
through
lights
COVID,
on.
I mean, so we were just up and running, right? I mean, really just starting.
We opened in May of 2018, and then we had our first good, year was, your first year is always rough. And,
Right.
February was looking really good. It was like this is our best month since we've been open, and then COVID hit.
Right.
March 15th.
So
17th.
did you start delivering or what happened?
We went strictly
Takeout only.
to takeout only.
Right. Sure. Okay. So people were coming by and picking stuff up.
We have a great community support. I mean,
all right.
it's
So
just
what's
been
better? You were selling the food. You didn't have to wait on it.
Yeah. Maybe we should go back to that model. No, I'm just picking.
But I mean, that was good, though,
yeah.
right?
I mean, it sustained my main crew of people that we hired. I was able to keep them a job and keep the bills paid and until we crossed the hurdle and opened back up.
Do you think by being out in the area that you were in, just not a lot of competition out there, right? So from the standpoint of that local market, you were the closest thing, for some tasty food.
I'll just be honest, it's the local people that kept us going. I mean, relationships that I built even before I opened this restaurant that kept us going through COVID.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
So,
and you're exactly right in the way of in that area. I think that, Alan was, as you said, Alan was successful there. I think they just kind of tried it, didn't like it, and was like, do something else. Yeah, he's more of an engineer type. And so anyway, if you can put a good product in that building, anybody, I think, would have been successful there, because you're right, there is nothing else out there. And so I think the reason that some of the others didn't make it is because they just weren't really meeting the mark,
Right.
But she really knows the area, knows what folks want, what they like.
What they
she
like
said from
out
her.
there. What was the first? Did you do gravy and biscuits?
no, we tried breakfast.
We've done breakfast for this long. Until
We've always been lunch and dinner. Pretty much staples, country cooking for lunch, meatloafs, chicken pies, things like that for lunch. Steaks and seafood at night.
What's your between the chicken pie and meatloaf? Which one sells the most?
Meatloaf.
Meatloaf. How do you do it? Do you put ketchup on top and bake it and brown it, or you put it in it, or how do you do it? Everybody's got their thing, for meatloaf.
Maybe it's got in it and on top.
and on top of it. That's the secret. One day I can see how it happened. He had the recipe there. Mm-hmm. He come in with another cat, and you just started back. You forgot where you were.
Yeah.
And you're like, let me put some.
Yeah. Maybe some more ketchup.
Yeah.
So then you had it mashed in and on top.
Yeah.
See, saving a cat.
What you see is, even if you don't put it in there, everybody puts ketchup on it when they're done. So you might as well just put some on top for them too, and let it bake and caramelize.
And do you have mashed potatoes?
I do.
Real ones?
Real mashed potatoes.
Not the.
They're not flakes.
Not flakes.
Yeah. Flaky. Wow.
Real mashed potatoes.
I don't want to talk about potatoes.
That's right. They're my friends.
That's right. So real mashed potatoes. So you're peeling them, cook them, mash them up. So that's good, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then what about your coleslaw? How do you do that?
With cabbage.
But are you mayonnaise based or vinegar
mayonnaise based?
So mayonnaise. Do you put sugar or no sugar?
Sugar.
A little taste of sugar.
Yeah.
Right. You put what else you put in it?
I can't tell you everything.
No, who am I going to tell?
There may be folks with notepads.
We make some slaw for Boomer Fire Department.
There's some credibility.
Like that.
If firefighters love it, then that means a lot, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, she actually has quite a few people that order,
slaw.
Bulk sides for their personal events and stuff. So they'll order gallons of slaw.
Gallons of slaw.
Oh yeah,
gallons of slaw.
10 gallons at a time.
10 gallons.
Yeah, I usually make 12 for Boomer Fire Department. 12 gallons of slaw. So.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. That's an endorsement, right?
So,
you do the slaw.
I'll put all these in my cookbook. That's my $1 million. Yeah. I'll get you all hooked out there. And
Do you do potato salad too?
I do traditional, and then we do a loaded potato salad.
A loaded. Oh, I know what that is. I have some. It's like a loaded potato all mushed up with mayonnaise and stuff.
Oh my gosh.
Bacon and cheese.
It's got ranch
and chives
seasoning in it, and cheese and bacon.
How much of that do you eat, CJ?
All of it, if she would let me. We've got to sell some. That's what I hear a lot of. We have to sell this stuff.
Yeah.
Get out there.
All because you're eating. Oh, I see.
Right. Yeah. Eating up the profit.
So
she says.
maybe it could be an allotment. Like we sell 100, you get one.
Absolutely. Right.
And all right. So you got that going on. Meatloaf we know was a big thing for lunch, and then it goes on. So in the dinner hour, right, or supper hour, you've been where you're from. What'd you say, right? How late are you open?
Till 9.
Till 9. So that would be dinner, right? And supper, one of those things that's supposed to be around 9:30, 10.
So for me, dinner and supper are
the same.
Synonymous?
No, for me, I call lunch dinner, and it's always just supper. I thought calling the evening meal dinner was more of a sophisticated or even northernish type thing. For us in the South, it's always
British,
supper.
Right?
Maybe, it's just supper.
Some of our founding peoples.
Maybe. Yeah.
Maybe your people weren't from there.
Maybe not.
What is your heritage? Do you know?
As far as what family, I've just been told it would be Dutch Irish, and there is some. There's supposed to be some Native American, and supposed to be some Blackfoot Indian on my grandmother's side. My grandmother's grandmother was Blackfoot Indian.
Do you like deer?
Absolutely love deer.
Okay, well that's your heritage there. So you like that, and you like mashed potatoes. That's your Irish side, right? So Irish. So you could do a deer potato stew, and he would love that probably.
Probably, yeah.
I think we've probably
done that.
Deer potato pie, kind of thing for sure.
Yeah.
I had a chicken pie somewhere a few days ago, and it was pretty good.
Well, now I have to brag more. She says chicken pie, but I have to brag more on her chicken dumplings.
Oh,
Because the chicken pie is just basically, you've got all the shredded chicken and the veggies in there and then the bread topping and you scoop that out. The dumplings that she makes are actually like, it's not the noodles. Okay. When she makes you a dumpling, it is dry bread inside of that squishy dumpling. So when you get it out of a pot, out of all the soupy stuff, you can cut to the center of it and there's dry bread in the center of that.
So the dough.
It's magic.
So the dough.
It's like a biscuit.
It's like a biscuit in the pot.
It's like a biscuit in a pot. But you make it in a ball. You put it in there.
Scoops.
Right?
Yeah.
It's dough when it goes in there.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. And somehow it cooks the middle and not the outside.
Oh, it's wonderful.
Is that what it does?
It bakes. It sits in the hot liquid and bakes. And
inside and not the outside.
Yeah.
And the magic's that. What? But
it is confounding and it's delicious.
The outside
is all wet and gooey.
But because it's in the moisture.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
But it's cooked though.
Yes.
It is cooked.
It's cooked.
Yeah.
But in the middle, it's
like a bread.
Dry as the desert.
Yes, sir.
Like bread.
Really?
Yeah.
Does anybody else do that? Have you had that anywhere else?
Only people that know how to cook.
I'm just trying to think. Trying to remember.
Yeah. No. Most people will say chicken and dumplings and they call them, now I know that some of the folks, they still call them dumplings, which is actually a noodle. Right. You know what I mean? It's the flat noodle, and it's just a noodle. It's not actually a dumpling. A dumpling is a piece of bread.
Did you bring any?
No. They're incredible.
Technically, we're working on baby back ribs for this week for our
we're cooking
pig picking. So
you're doing baby back ribs this week.
Yes, on Thursday, on the second Thursday of each month, we have pig picking, and CJ comes and picks, and then we pick the pig.
Oh, I see. So you're picking, and you're entertaining.
Yeah.
So is that okay? So let's get to that part. So you do have dinner and a show occasionally, right?
Two times a month.
2 times a month. So I mean, the restaurant is good size, but it's not massive, though, right?
Yeah.
So do you sit in the middle of the room or over on the corner?
In the corner, right by the door. And if I'm just completely honest, so her business model was, and I can speak for her in this because she's told me 1,000 times, and I trust that I'm saying this right. We never intended to have music
at all.
Yeah. No, we're a restaurant. And so she solely wanted, and it's not a knock at me, I mean, I've got plenty of work, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But it's just that type of environment sometimes, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but that does sort of change the feel of the place, the folks that are sitting around. And so, and even though what I do is kind of very subdued in a way, I keep it comfortable for the room, or try to. It's a hard room to play because of the shape and all of the wood.
The acoustics and everything.
Are tough in there. It's tough. If you get it, you have to fight the volume battle, because if I try to get it up enough to where the folks can kind of hear good, then they want to talk above that, and then that place is just a roar. And so you've got to play a soft, soothing, tip-inducing music. Absolutely. So where I was going with all that, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but where I was going with all that is just, it was through request, though, because other things that she had no intention of doing when she opened, we weren't going to serve any form of a chicken wing. Because everybody serves chicken wings, so she just didn't want to mess with chicken wings.
Sure.
And we also, she had not much of intention in doing any sorts of like barbecue or ribs or anything like that, because in her eyes, again, I know I can say this confidently for her because she said it to me a bunch, that barbecue places should really be focused on just barbecue. Though. If you're calling yourself a barbecue place, then you need to be serious.
You better have barbecue.
You better bring it. So it was just kind of, she was wanting to do what was her strengths, which were the home cooking and the, steaks and seafood and that thing. So, but it was through requests. People like, when's CJ going to play? When's CJ going to play? Honestly.
Okay.
And so just to kind of quieten them down, and asking for chicken wings.
Why don't you have wings? Why don't you have this? Why don't you have that?
So do you on the night that he plays, is that the night that you do chicken wings and
we do
barbecue?
pig picking
on the second.
On the second Thursday, which consists of baby back ribs, barbecue type, and on the last Thursday of each month we do chicken picking, and we do bone-in wings.
Chicken picking. Yep. So chicken picking
and pig picking.
And pig picking.
Yep. And
CJ gets to play.
Yeah.
So he plays during the messiest times of the month.
Yes.
Oh man, yeah.
So
So I don't know if it's the food or the music bringing them in. But
so you're timing your music out and your presentation of your music with people licking their fingers. So that sound, you've got to have the right.
You need to be in the right spot. Right. You want it all to crescendo together. You know.
Do you do that? Do you like, okay, folks, when I get to this point, lick your fingers?
No, for the most part, and I do this too. To be honest with you, if I'm not playing in what I would consider to be an actual like venue,
right.
You know, stage, lights, that whole.
Sure.
I pretty much just imitate the radio. I don't do a lot of crowd interaction. That's not my thing. Sure. I'm there to provide a nice, comfortable
He's just background
noise. Right.
And so I do speak. I'm cordial, of course, you know, but I'm not a guy that's like, hey, everybody, look at me, and trying to get, you know, just.
More like an NPR station.
Absolutely, yeah.
You're playing, and you might say something, but nobody cares.
Exactly right.
You don't care. And you're just talking because you're alive.
I mean, you know, it's funny how life imitates art and vice versa, as we said before. So a lot of times, yes, that may be, there's some truth in those statements, but it's not, I don't want to, again, like we was talking about intent before when we started, you know, my intention is not to go out and to be enigmatic in a room with people or whatever, you know, like I'm just over here or whatever, but it's the way it turns out sometimes.
Right. Plus, you're married to the cook. Yeah, I mean, you kind of, he's got to do something. Right?
You got to do something.
Yeah. So, okay, so that's good. So we got that going on. I think the last time professionally we saw each other, you were singing at a dedication ceremony in Wilkesboro for
Larry Bailey.
Yeah, for Larry Beatty and the flag dedication for the cemetery there, right up on the hillside. Yeah, that was beautiful.
It was an absolute incredible day. I mean, and aside from, you know, whatever part I played in it, I'm just thankful because I know how much he worked toward that. Larry has worked toward that for a long time, man. And from the story that he told me about his wife and how the place looked and all this, and I'm just like, man, I tell you what, that's a guy that stuck to his guns and stayed in there. And it was such a beautiful day, beautiful ceremony. Everything was just perfect for him.
No, it was nice. So your performance was great that day. People still talk about it.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Yeah, I practiced enough, didn't I?
He did practice.
And I'll say this: I don't practice hardly that's terrible grammar. I don't practice much, or anyway, I don't for things. I just, you know, for the most part. But I wanted that to be good for him. I wanted to know that I wasn't going to mess it up, and so I put in a lot of time on that song. Man.
Right.
Over 2 weeks, I bet I sung it 50, probably 60 times.
Is that right?
Oh yeah.
Wow, not during a pig picking night.
No. Usually,
that's the first and only time he's sang it out.
Is that right? Wow, no one would imagine that. I had not heard you sing that song before, but I had heard you sing the national anthem.
It was a request from Larry.
Yeah.
Well, it perfectly fit the day and the event.
Well, it's in the key that it's in and the way he delivers it, it's kind of a tough song to sing. I mean, you really, if you're not breathing right, you're not finding those marks right, some of them places you're not going to have the wind to get to and through and all of that. So I'm going to be honest, I avoid songs like that for my personal show. I like to just be kind of numb in the corner.
Right. So when you write your music, CJ, what is that? Is there a feel, or do you have a preconceived notion of what you want to accomplish, or do you just let it come to you?
Usually, for the last, whatever decade of songwriting, I'm inspired by something. Something will nudge me that way. I don't know what it is. It can be one word. It can be a sentence. It can be something I saw.
Or I can make him mad.
Amy can make me angry one day. There's a bunch of songs.
Are those anger songs more impassioned, or are you trying to calm yourself down?
Actually, they're some of the most subtle and serene songs, and they sound like love songs, but they were spun out of like you know.
Yeah.
And so,
So is that like self-help? Is that like
it's
little
therapy. Yeah, it is therapy, right? It's a way to vent things, you know, in a way that.
Darn, there's no kitten around. I need to write a song.
Right. Creatively, I don't have the tools that a lot of folks will have as far as music theory and these sorts of things, technical training and these sorts of things to help. So I definitely have to rely on inspiration, things that I've already learned and can recreate for my purpose or whatever.
Right.
And, you know, sometimes that'll get you sounding a certain way over and over again. I do try to write outside of the box sometimes. So I'm part of 2 different projects. The CJ Ballard band, of course, you guys are familiar with, but there's an original Christian group that I'm with too, like a rock band called 13th Tribe, and that's the word spelled out 13th. And that derives from, in Scripture, it's in the book of Hebrews, to where it's talking about the priest line of Melchizedek, where it says that there will be a new tribe, and that's the church, that's us, and Christ will be the priest of this new tribe, the 13th tribe. And so anyway, that's where the name came from. So, but we write what most people would call like prog rock. It's like progressive rock in a way.
Right.
And so, but it also, it varies as well too, because it'll go to sounding very Third Day-ish, you know, Southern rock, contemporary Christian, if that makes any sense. But those 2 projects together allow me a great spectrum of availability to be able to express in different ways, you know.
Sure. So you can just do whatever you want to do.
Pretty much, yeah.
That's it. And for whatever reason, there's somebody that cares about that sound.
Oh yeah.
In the crowd, so that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Can you imagine life without music?
I don't want to at this point, no. My work prior to being what you'd call a full-time or working musician was, you know, definitely more construction-oriented, and, you know, so I've built houses, I've worked for acoustic ceiling companies, I've worked in fiberglass plants. I joined the circus one time.
Wait a minute. Wait, back to the circus. Wait, stop. So what were you... What were you doing in the circus?
I was going to be a camel loader.
Camel loader?
Yeah, I was going to put kids on the camel for it to walk around in a circle, and then just going to be the attendant for the camel ride. Yeah.
How long did you do that?
One day. I can tell you this story. Very quickly. I was washing dishes.
Camels stink too.
Oh no, it was horrible. It was a horrible experience. I was washing dishes. I was about 17 years old, probably. This was, you know, early on, at the Sheraton, what is now the Holiday Inn. At the time, though, the mall was still operating. And there was, and obviously this was not Ringling Brothers that had came, but there was some little circus that had came and set up in the upper parking lot. And you gentlemen may very well remember this, because there was a huge article that came out that weekend about a young girl that got attacked by a panther. Do you remember that?
Oh, I remember hearing that.
Remember that story?
I remember that story.
This was that same weekend. So this was the Friday night of it. I was working at Sheraton. There was dishes stacked up to my head. I was looking over there. I was thinking, man, that looks like fun. And so I threw in the towel here, walked over there. The guy, sure, we'll hire you on. Come right over here. And you're right. I made a lot of real serious revelations very quickly about carny life.
Right.
And I was so glad to go back to my dishwashing job the next day, and thankful that they let me come back.
Right. So it was a momentary
lapse of reason.
Experience. Right.
It was horrible. Yeah.
Camels and kittens are 2 different things, aren't they?
You're not lying.
Save a kitten's one thing. Save a camel.
No way.
I probably shouldn't have said they stink, because I don't want to make my camel-loving friends mad at me.
That's right.
But yeah, I've ridden one. I've ridden one before. So that was interesting.
Never actually ridden a camel. Our daughter did, though, didn't she?
At the Ark.
Yeah, at the Ark.
So was it 2 hump or 1 hump?
I think he was a single.
Single hump. So there's a dromedarian, and then anyway, one's two humps and one's one hump. And I rode both, and the two hump one is very bizarre. Very bizarre. You get stuck.
I was going to say, did you ride between the humps?
Oh my gosh, most bizarre thing in the world.
Yeah,
and then, anyway, it was. Yeah, there's a guy. There was all these little kids getting on him, and they said, "Mr. White, here, got your camel." And I was like, so you're like little kids running around, and then here I am, the camera's going. I just feel like such an idiot. And I'm like, but I was like, okay, I've got to embrace this. I've got to embrace it.
Right.
So he's going. Clyde was his name. He was going around, and I was on that back side of the hump, and I started sliding.
Oh no.
And I just said, "This isn't good." And I kind of reached around and holding on to whatever hair hump thing, and I didn't slide off until it was over, and I just proceeded to try to be very zen and calm. So didn't ride a camel before.
Well, you might ought to get that off your bucket list sometime.
Right.
Well,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
That's a good time as any.
All right, Bubba, you up for that? I've lost 30 pounds, Bubba.
Buck's game about it. I don't want to tell him to get in the saddle.
Oh, well, that sounds like that might be a good fit then. Experience. Look at this. Good job, Bubba.
You ever been to this festival?
Come on, folks. I've just slid back here on his hump, and I'm just sitting on the backside now. That's all right, isn't it?
What's your right foot? What's your right foot?
We bring it up.
Hold on. I got you nothing hot. Okay.
He's. Kevin, it's your turn.
Thank you.
Go get him, Kevin. I don't blame him. Missed it, back up. Way to go, Kevin! That's Kevin, the camel rider. That pony said, please don't ride me. Please don't ride me. And I would calm myself down, and I did not want Clyde to get excited.
Oh, absolutely
and
not.
take off.
No.
So that was it. So I don't need to do that ever again.
No. I'm good on camel riding myself.
So that's great. So I had a stint in the circus. I don't know if a day is considered a stint or not. That might be a.
It was a revelation, like I said. It was
a
definitely
revelation.
Yes.
Did you have an appreciation for those people, or are you just like, that's crazy? Why would I ever do that?
Well, it was more or less that. Just I don't. An understanding of reason of why you would want to do that and live that way. I'm sure there's folks that, again, not without hurting anyone's feelings or offending, but that's definitely a choice that you. Because they were basically sleeping. The sleeping quarters was a 53-foot like transfer trailer,
right,
with bunks built on the wall, wooden bunks built on the wall, and.
So those were the people who were working.
Yeah, the carnies. Yeah.
And then were the like camels and lions walking below?
No, they were stored in their own facilities. Yeah, but now you could not distinguish the two by the smell though. So I'm sure the camels did get confused about which one to go to, and that was kind of what got me. I was like, nah, I'm not going in there.
Did you know him then?
I knew him, but You
didn't know this story.
No.
You didn't know that about
not till later.
Yeah,
he just told me about it.
Heard the story.
Right, sure, of course. So what happens from here? I mean, you've got, you've left the carny world. You're singing and performing. You're cooking and you're animal humanitarians. You're doing these things to celebrate life. I mean, what does the future look like? How do you guys see yourself navigating? Is the restaurant business satisfying you? This is something you're going to be doing for a while?
Well, I told my kids they had me for 10 years.
10 years? Okay.
I'm 7 years into that. Both of our kids work at the restaurant. My son Jake is the lead line cook, kitchen manager.
Are they the heir apparents?
Hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully.
Right.
My daughter, she's the front end manager, and
so
she's a server. I'm not sure they enjoy it, but they come to work every day.
Well, they don't think of it as a carnival. A circus experience. Yeah. No.
So it's hopeful that I am wanting to step back just a little bit in 3 years and kind of be free to do other things, but.
Right.
Well, be free to live. I want to go in and cook and then leave when the door's open.
You have a bucket list?
Not really.
She wants to go to Alaska.
I do want to go to Alaska.
Alaska?
Yeah.
Oh.
I'd like to go to Alaska. I'd like to just be able to go and just end up wherever I end up and then just stay there for a little bit and then go again.
Okay.
About the time they learn who I am and learn my name, I want to leave.
You want to leave?
She wants to gypsy for a little while.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
And that's different than the carnival.
Yeah.
days.
Absolutely.
Very, very different.
Yeah,
right?
they have showers.
Yeah. And musicians are a bit gypsy-ish anyway, too,
Yeah.
right? I mean, as far as that,
you know.
here's a show, let's go to the next one, let's go to the next one,
Yep.
let's go to the next one.
Yep.
From that standpoint.
Yep.
Hopefully by then they'll get a good grasp on it, and I'll be able to step back some. And
You're going to be are you going to be a groupie for the band?
no,
No.
I did that.
Did you?
I've done that.
Yeah.
But it would be nice for him to be able to go and do. There were some opportunities when the children were smaller that he didn't take, that it would be good for him.
So the
to
two
be
of
able
you
to
go
do.
to Alaska, up to Alaska, and do you imagine you'll sing when you're up there? You're just going to kind of walk with the moose?
Yeah, probably moose walking. No,
He
we
says he don't want to go, so I'm just going to
Oh.
go dog mushing without him.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not a cold weather guy, so
You're not?
No.
Right.
I like warm. I like sand and salt water and the beach. And I don't mind the mountains. I love the mountains. But for me, I also like warm.
So you want to go to Alaska. He wants to go to the Caribbean.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Or the Outer Banks.
Absolutely.
certain times.
Yeah, which
Yeah,
we've
yeah.
been there. Yeah.
But it would be nice to see places that we had never seen, and
Yeah, it is
just,
nice.
And we've traveled quite a bit. I mean,
We have.
we've been to we've made 2 trips out west, with our family, one in 2015 and then one again in 2021.
well, we went to Arizona and Montana a couple times.
So I mean, we've made a couple loops. Never made it all the way to the west coast yet, but we've been as far as Flagstaff. I guess is probably the furthest out that way.
What do you say to people who talk about their bucket list and as years pass, they're still talking about their bucket list. And then by the time they start thinking about taking stuff out of the bucket, they can't carry the bucket anymore,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
You wait too long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's got to be a song about the tragedy of that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think, I'll be honest with you, for me, I turned 50 this year. I do feel like that there's a line in a movie, and I can't recall the movie at the moment, but I can recall the line because it stuck with me my whole life. It said, the only thing in life you ever regret are the chances you didn't take. And so that sometimes will resonate, like not necessarily in, say, business or all that, but just taking a chance of planning something spontaneous or going somewhere and doing something. And if hey, that might not make sense financially this year, so what? We'll figure it out when it comes around.
We are very much fly by the seat of our pants.
Absolutely.
Get on the motorcycle and just take a bag, and wherever we end up,
So your kids wouldn't be surprised if one day you say, hey, Mom and Dad's going to take a little trip, so you cover everything for a couple of weeks.
That's a real possibility.
They know that.
And they know that. And they're prepared for that.
I don't know if they're prepared, but it's coming.
Well, it sounds like it's the American dream, right?
Yeah.
I mean, or just the human dream.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Just living.
Yeah.
Just being able to live.
I mean, so I can't believe that a creator God would want to create something that he didn't want to have some enjoyment of seeing its creation enjoying itself. And in a good, practical, moral sense. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, you can't think that God said, I'm going to create this thing so it can just work and die, God didn't say that, The scriptures don't teach us that, we're to be happy and to be fruitful and to.
It's really hard to honor creation without being part of the activities.
Man, I'm
Right?
telling
How do
you,
you
yeah.
how do you do that? How can you even love others and serve others unless you are participating in the process? Right?
That's right.
Everybody needs to pick up a kitten every now and then.
Absolutely. That's absolutely right. Yeah, because and in this day and age to where, we seemingly are, and it, whichever way you think that it's coming from, there seems to be some sort of a restraint against people's ability to either think or maybe act a certain way or whatever it is, and I don't know what that is, but in our human experience, we're talking about, it's like, I don't know how to say it, but it's almost as if there's this paradigm shift to where the American dream, somebody's going to reshape that for you to where you need to think that it's this and this and this, and not what we've been taught or led to believe that it is. If that makes any sense. I don't know, that might just be total gibberish, but I feel like that we all inherently want happiness when you're, what I'm saying, as you start to develop your senses and all that, that, well, pain's bad. I don't like that, And so then you start to develop these, I get a hug from Mom. Oh, that feels good.
Right.
I like that. And so we start to develop on those things.
But you could paint Mom a painting and give it to her, and that'd make you feel good.
Absolutely.
You just don't want to climb a ladder and paint a house.
Exactly. See that?
Different kinds of painting.
Right there.
CJ.
See that? That's right. See that?
It's not that you don't like to paint. You just don't like to fall and get injured.
We don't like to paint big things.
Little things. Little things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
No, it's anyway, I guess I'm going to this place with all of that just to say that for us, you were talking about where we're kind of going and where we're heading, what we see. For us, we sacrificed a lot for our kids, and when I say that, I mean as far as just like time and all that, we really put our nose down and done what we felt like we needed to do to provide for them and to get the stable home and to have the things that we needed.
They love you?
I think so. They either do or they lie to us, one or the other. They're really good liars.
Either way.
Yeah, either way. But,
you feel good about it.
Yeah. They've not, we've not had, and I say this too, to the, whatever maybe dismay of a lot of our friends and our peer groups. We were looked at when our kids were growing up, we were the mean, strict parents that none of the other kids would come to our house and stay, because we didn't let them just do whatever. We made them eat the right things, or tried to, and you couldn't just act however you wanted,
Did you make those dumplings that were cooked in the middle and gooey on the outside? Even then?
Even then.
So your kids grew up eating those?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. And when you see my son, you'll know, because he's like 6'1", 240. I mean, he's like a big guy. Yeah.
Right.
And then my daughter, we like kraut and weenies. But she calls it broke people food. She said, we must not have any money. We're eating broke people food.
Or just a German dinner.
That's right.
So we do have those little,
All right. Okay. Well, so you've got these wonderful experiences. Life has treated you abundantly with opportunities to experience different
Very
things.
blessed.
So that's wonderful. And then you lyrically bring that to fruition with performances, either on stage or sitting humbly in the corner and just providing some atmosphere, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And
Sometimes that's the best thing to do. Isn't it funny that some of the folks that, like, even our favorite stars, one I like the most, I guess, is like Alan Jackson. If you ever, he's a really humble guy, and I mean, even in the days of him being like super duper 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 star, he still sounded and talked exactly the same, wore the same clothes, and it just seemed like he was just the same guy the whole time. And that's I kind of tried to model myself after that. So,
do you wear fringe? Does he come home with fringe?
he is the tackiest dresser ever.
So you did do some Alan Jackson.
Just some weird stuff. I'm like, you're not going to wear that, are you?
Yeah, I'm going to.
I'm like, okay.
He's your weird guy. While we're easing our way into our moderate conclusion, don't stop.
Sure.
Well, go ahead and pick up that big old guitar. We had talked when we talked on the phone the other day. We talked about a song that you had written that was somehow related to this area. And when you came in today, you didn't have your guitars, so I was like, well, wait a minute. And so you had forgot. And next thing I know, Tim goes and gets his twin guitar here and brings it down. And you said, yeah, I can make something happen with that. Why don't you talk about what you're going to do now and kind of, over the years, we've talked to a lot of musicians, a lot. Talked to a lot of prodigies, Liam Purcell, as a kid that's here. And when we first met him, he was just this little kid and played 14 different instruments that he taught himself how to do. And we were doing a show in Cleveland County, and I invited him with a lot of other great musicians, and he came out, and I think his guitar was about as big as he was, but he performed, and then the next thing you know, over the years, I see he's at Berkeley, and he does it incredibly well there, and just evolved into being a great musician. And as you said, Presley Barker, who's on the local level, and we've had David Holt in here, and David, I've known David for many, many years, and you see this guy who's, does shows about trains and plays music and has a radio show that he does on NPR that's about jazz.
Oh, wow.
Jazz music. A lot of people don't even know that. Now, the people in the jazz world, they know it because they've listened to it for so long.
Right.
But people who love music, what is it? Barry Manilow wrote about that, right? Music does something great for us. So,
absolutely, yeah.
But we believe that's true. So,
well, I definitely believe that I'm going to try to secretly tune this as we talk, but I definitely believe that there is something about the area. There is something about this stretch of North Carolina and the Appalachian Mountains that it has a sound in it that that even people that are not from here try to replicate, and that mainstream country for many, many years, that's the only sound they thought would sell. And by that, I guess we're talking about all of like the 90s country stuff, and all of that was sort of, it's more of the Hank Jr. and all of that, even though those guys aren't from here, but that, that kind of just...
And an influence.
Right?
Right.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, I had in mind that I was going to do Moravian Mountain.
That's what you should do.
Is that what I should do? It's very difficult to do by yourself, though, Mamie.
Okay.
Oops.
So this song's called Moravian Mountain. Basically, I'm going to back up just a tad because I'll start to project here. This might blow your mic out, but so anyway, this is a song called Moravian Mountain, and it is basically just an autobiography of, we'll say non-named people growing up in the Moravian area.
Okay.
And it just goes a little something like this. In these hills where love lives, I feel as safe as a child, resting in his mother's arms on a stormy summer night. There's a drawing in the holler, there's a beckoning from the ridge. The holy breath of Yahweh is hanging in the trees. This is where I was born and this is where I live. Moravian Mountain, love is alive in these hills. Twisted vine and a wild rose growing through a white oak tree, and the cool muddy creek bank felt so good beneath my feet. And this land I made a living, this land I made a home. This is where I was raised and now my kids are grown. Somewhere in life you realize that love is all there is. Moravian Mountain, love is alive in these hills. Moravian Mountain, love is alive in these hills. Moravian Mountain, love is alive in in these hills. There you go.
Wow.
Yeah.
When did you write that?
3 years ago now. Probably 3 years ago.
So a new song.
Yeah.
New song.
Yeah. And so a lot of the stuff that I've written, so in that vein, so there's, and of course, all of these songs, if I'm allowed to do the little tag or punch or whatever you call it now, we call it the, push, whatever.
Push.
Yeah. Is CJ Ballard Band on Spotify or cjballardmusic.com. But a lot of the songs they're not just what we call fluff and stuff songs. So, I don't have any songs about tailgates and cut off blue jeans and drinking Bud Light. And I have no songs like that.
Right.
All of my songs speak to respecting my elders, where I came from, something about where I live. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Something to mean something to somebody. I just don't have any desire to write like a cookie cutter type song.
What would be the song that you feel has had the most impact on your life personally? Something that meant the absolute most to you. I know that's hard, but
this was pretty close. And it was what we was talking about earlier. Some songs that are written out of, when she and I was not exactly, what a jihad stick is?
Y'all weren't jihading.
We weren't exactly jihading, right? So anyway, it's a song called The Front Porch Song. It's very simple. It's like... It was a beautiful day, that's for sure. The last time we spoke was on the front porch, and I was going to sing some songs. That's what I do to move us along, and now I don't understand what we're fussing for. And how can everything change with just one word? The thought of that is simply absurd. You see now, my heart belongs to you. That's one thing I know is true. So let's consider that before we move on. Let me take your hand and pull you near, and slide your hair back behind your ear, with some soft kisses on your neck, till the goosebumps run down your back, and then we won't remember what we're fussing for.
He was in lots of trouble.
How long did it take you to forgive him for whatever?
I had to sing the song about 50 times first.
But he knew. He knew. CJ, that's it. I messed up. Let me write a song. See if that'll help me out of this mess.
Out of this one.
Wow. Oh my gosh. You know, as we wrap up today, thank you for doing that,
You're
CJ.
welcome. Thank
Those
you,
were
guys.
great. Those were great songs. And I appreciate you sharing songs that mean something to you.
Absolutely.
I think we feel that. You know, when you hear someone sing a song. Now, sometimes performers are just incredible.
Absolutely.
And you know, they can make you buy what they're selling.
Absolutely.
And I'm okay with that too.
Mm-hmm.
But then there are other times that you just, oh wow, that's real.
Yeah.
You know, so that's a good thing.
Yep.
Life in Wilkes, living in Wilkes, being in this community, as we've embarked on this show and sharing the people of Wilkes County and the region and their real stories.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a very enriching experience because as we're allowed to just sit around and talk like friends.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yep.
You know, someone asked me that. They said, "You sure do talk about a lot of emotions and things." And I said, "Why do you do that?" I said, "Well, it kind of feels nice. You know?
Absolutely.
I'm comfortable with that."
Yeah.
I mean, you know, there's some cats outside we feed, and you. I mean, I did not stop going down the road, stop traffic, and endanger my life and the cat's life to pick up a tiny kitten. But you didn't do it. You actually got it on the side. But you were going to.
I was
right?
going to. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I was moved with compassion. That's right.
Moved with compassion. I think that's great. We're gonna write a song about that.
Okay.
So. Maybe there is something about the kitten life.
Yeah. I don't know. I really like the bucket list challenge. You might have invoked something there. Let's see what happens.
Just do it.
Okay.
Whatever you want to do, go do it.
Yeah.
Whatever the obstacles are.
Well, I was talking about writing a song about that.
Oh, sure. We'll do that too.
Emptying the bucket before you can't carry it. That is a great line, man.
Well, just think about it. Think about it. People.
Yeah.
what are
I'll
gonna
tag
do?
you in the royalties on
Yeah.
it. Okay.
All right. Well, the big thing, and we'll promote it. Okay. That would be great.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Bananas. Gonna take
Well, guys, it's certainly been nice having time beside the fireplace. You know,
Yeah.
fireplaces everywhere now.
Beautiful, yes.
And just chatting and getting to know each other more and learning about what's going on in life with the both of you. I think that's pretty darn exciting. So thank you both for sharing. Thank you for being on the show.
Man, thank you guys so much for the
Yeah.
invitation.
Thanks for
thank
having
you.
us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, you're certainly welcome. We'll see you next time.
Awesome.
We don't have to wait.
All right, thanks, guys. That's it.
That's great.
Thank you for spending time with us on Life in Wilkes. We value you as a viewer and appreciate when you share this show with your friends and family. Be sure to bookmark our channel and join us again on the next episode of Life in Wilkes.